Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are appearing for the NICL mains exam on 31st August 2025, then this video is tailor-made for you. With just a few days left, now is the time to move away from content-heavy learning and shift into strategic revision, MCQ mastery and exam readiness. In this video, I will walk you through a focused, practical 20-day plan that covers the syllabus strategically, helping you consolidate your preparation and maximize your score. Now, before I start, it is imperative to understand that no matter what competitive exam you're appearing for, do not focus on covering the entire syllabus. Not every law is required to be studied in depth. The areas of high weightage are to be focused on. They are the ones which are to be studied in depth. You should know the ins and outs of it. But for all other laws which might not have that kind of weightage or which might have little to no weightage, cover them strategically. It could be by reading your short notes or your class notes on that particular act or solving as many MCQs as possible to cover these areas extensively. Right now, let's start with the golden rule, which is do not start any major new acts right now. You heard that right. You can cover minor acts, but not the major acts. However, if you're covering any minor act, you are going to set a deadline for yourself. That is before 15th of August in our case. Right? This deadline is basically for you to cover all minor acts which carry high weightage, but they are not as extensive as the major acts like Constitution or CPC. Now, you may ask, what are these minor laws? Then your primary focus should be covering acts like Partnership Act, SRA, LLP Act, your insurance laws like your IRDA Act, your Insurance Act, your Motor Vehicles Act. None of these acts require you to study them through a supplementary book. These are those acts which are not very lengthy, probably 30 to 50 sections in one law, each of which can be covered in a day's time by reading the Bare Act and practicing the related MCQs. Apart from this, you can focus on revising what you have already covered, right? So spend at least 1 to 2 hours daily per major act, revise your own notes, go through important definitions, touch upon recent amendments and landmark judgments in cases of, in case of constitution, just the key points. You can use mind maps or flashcards to keep your recall sharp. Now, coming to your phase one. Now, the idea here is now these are a set of common laws which are extremely crucial and high weightage from the examination point of view. So, you have Constitution, you have BNS, you have BSA, you have Companies Act, shorter sort of acts like LLP, partnership, contracts, SRA, CPC, BNSS, TPA, Limitation Act, right? So, this is the crux of your exam. You do not focus on covering anything else if you have not covered this part of the exam. Also, these are the set of acts or laws which are the ones which are the ones which require consistent revision and most importantly strategic revision. So your first 7 to 8 days should be all about revising these laws or this chunk of syllabus, right? Especially the ones that you have already covered, right? So this includes your Constitution, your BNS, your BSA, your Companies Act, your contracts, your LLP, partnership, etc. Right? Now, if any of these acts are not covered by you thoroughly, the idea is to cover them through solving MCQs. You have to understand that now is not the time to read them elaborately or comprehensively. And even if you try to do this, you will not be able to cover them given the time crunch. Now, coming to these two important subjects, your CPC and your BNSS, now I have a very different take on them. If you're someone who has never dealt with these subjects before, the idea is to leave them. You heard that right. If you have time by the end of it all, you can cover them by solving, the related MCQs or PYPs, but you do not pick them up right now. If you're someone who is moderately acquainted with these two acts, you can cover them by reading your summary notes or solving MCQs. The choice is yours. However, you're not going to waste your time on focusing uh, on covering these acts. right? These acts are very extensive. They are procedural in nature. They require time to be completed. So instead of fixating on them, you can shift your focus to acts which are more manageable and which will fetch you more marks when combined together, right? So, for example, you have LLP, you have partnership, your SRA, you have TPA, you have limitation. These are smaller acts. These are much more manageable. You have BNS, right? So, very, I mean, smaller acts as compared to your BNSS and CPC, right? So, in my opinion, it is always better to leave 10 marks than leaving the entire syllabus, right? Now, coming to phase two, we will first pick up your insurance laws, right? Because we are sitting for an insurance regulatory body exam. Therefore, these are important to cover first. But you do not have to worry. These acts are not lengthy, right? And they are not required to be studied through a supplementary book either, right? So there are 6 acts in total, six insurance laws in total. For the next 6 days, your focus should be to complete one act in a single day, right? That means one act in a day. How do you cover them? You read the bare act and you solve the MCQs, as many MCQs as you can, right? And in addition to this, you will continue doing your revision of other laws. Then we are going to move on to these laws, which are of equal importance, if not more. So you will not see a big chunk of questions coming from phase two in general, right? But you will see a few questions. At least you will see at least one question, if not more, from at least one more than one of these acts, right? So the idea for these laws, the idea for these, 5, 6 laws is basically to um, cover them strategically. That is, you cover them by reading the bare act, you solve the MCQs, right? Uh, that is something that you're going to do, right? So that is there. Now, to cover them, again, like I said, like if you're covering these particular acts, you're not going to refer to any bare act also, for that matter of fact. Instead, you're going to refer to short notes which are available, probably at the portal or something which you have access to. And you're also going to focus on solving related MCQs, or if you have an MCQ compendium, great. Preferably a compendium which consists of chapter wise or topic wise questions, right? Now this is your phase 3. Now the act with now this is the phase which consists of all the acts or all the laws with least amount of importance. If you have the time, you're going to cover these acts by just solving the MCQs or PYPs relating to these laws. Ideally, for shorter act, around 100 MCQs are sufficient. For bigger acts, 150 to 200 MCQs are required. However, if you have a collection of more MCQs and you have the required time to solve them, it will never hurt you, right? So, in your last stretch of preparation, especially when the exam that you're appearing for is objective in nature, your idea should be to cover these exams by solving MCQs. For laws or areas you haven't touched yet or you find weak, this is not the time to start reading bare acts. Instead, you switch directly to your MCQ practice. You go for PYP analysis or reliable test series. MCQ practice will help you cover facts quickly, and the explanations will sort of bridge your conceptual gaps. Focus on high weightage topics first and then slowly move on to low weightage topics like we just discussed. At iExam B, we provide you study notes, we provide you all these questions which are based on concept wise, chapter wise, section wise, as well as certain mock tests which are going to help you evaluate your performance, right? So if you haven't explored it yet, I highly recommend that you do. Last but not the least, your mental and physical readiness is equally important. So stick to a balanced routine, study for 7 to 8 hours daily, but take breaks, go for a walk, stretch, hydrate, keep a calm mindset, prepare your exam day strategy, what you will revise, what time you will wake up, how you will pace each section. It may sound minor, but this prep goes a long way in managing nerves, right? So these last few days are Not about panic. They are about consolidation. Trust your hard work. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for clarity, confidence, smart revision. If this strategy has helped you, do like the video, subscribe, and drop your questions in the comments. All the very best for your exam. See you in the next one.